place. Hard sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Hard sports all plays. Network. Hard sports all plays. Network. We on top of our game. Hard sports all plays. Hard sports all plays.
Wow. What a game. Crazy, did not expect that. But before we talk about that, let's get right in and welcome everyone to another episode of the ASAP Football Frenzy. I'm here today with the Angry Degenerate and Doug Rush. How are the both of you guys doing?
I'm doing great, man. That game was a dumpster fire, but I'm doing great.
I don't know if you guys can hear me. I'm in the I'm in the NFC East. I'm in the NFC East basement. You know, with my 2% chance of winning the division in the playoffs as the Giant fan. So, you know, I'm instead of looking forward to the playoffs, I'm looking forward to a first round pick in the draft. So fantastic in September.
Hey, I mean, you never know. I mean, I don't want to add insult to the injury. I guess okay. Is the word.
Well, I'm from Jersey.
I probably should say.
I'm from Jersey. I can take it. It's okay. You can throw all the salt in my wounds.
But not a single 0-2 team that started off 0-2 made the playoffs last year.
Yeah, we're 0-3, so it's okay.
Yeah.
But there was 1 year the Giants were 0-2 and won the Super Bowl. So.
Yeah.
In 2015, they were 0-2. In 2015, they were 0-2 and made the playoffs. So, I mean, it's still possible.
We're 0-3. We do not have a pass rush. Unless Michael Strahan, Justin Tuck, and Osi Umenyiora are coming back and putting on their uniforms, that ain't happening.
You also don't have a quarterback.
Anyway.
I agree. I agree.
Let's go ahead and rewind a little bit and talk about Carolina versus Houston. Starting off with that first, just touching that a little bit briefly. It was close to a point. In the first half, it was 7-6. You know, pretty simple. Sam Darnold, he threw a touchdown, and Davis Mills, the guy that's starting for quarterback for Houston, had played his first start. So I kind of expected it because it was his first start. So I expected that close game at the point because nobody has film on him. So I expected that. But going into that second quarter, it was just, there was no way Houston can come back from it wasn't anywhere near Cowboys Eagles, but there's no way Houston could come back from what happened in the second half. Doug, I'll go this to you. Okay. What are your thoughts on the Houston game? What to expect? What do you expect from the Houston Texans team?
I expected David Mills to look like a third-string quarterback, and that's exactly what he looked like on Thursday night against the Carolina team that right now is rolling. Carolina is a little bit of a surprise, but at the same time, it's not a surprise because Sam Darnold, coming out of the 2018 draft, was this highly touted quarterback who went to the wrong team in the Jets. Mm-hmm. And thankfully for Sam Darnold's career, he got away from Adam Gase and the stink that is the New York Jets. He got himself to the Panthers. Matt Rule gets his quarterback. And look, right now, Carolina's clicking. They're 3-0. They look like they're a hot team right now in the NFC South. That game was what is expected. Houston looks like a team that is so disoriented. They refuse to play Deshaun Watson, but they won't trade him for anything less than like 16 draft picks, your kidney, your first of kin. It's ridiculous what they're asking for with Deshaun. At the same time, they play Tyrod, who's a professional but is not Deshaun, and then they play David Mills, who's a third-string quarterback, over even thinking about giving Deshaun Watson any playing time. And they're going to keep losing games if they keep doing this. I mean, if they have no ambition to play Deshaun, fine, trade him. Get something for him. You're not going to get 3 first-rounders for a guy who has, the allegations against him like he's playing and like he's playing at an MVP level. No, you should take what you can get for him, take the best offer possible, let some team play him, be done with it, and rebuild and get your next quarterback and figure that out, because this is going to keep going. Obviously David Mills should not be the starting quarterback. And if it's Tyrod when he comes back, fine. He's a capable starter, but with Deshaun sitting there, just a healthy scratch every week, it's poor business by the Houston Texans. And you know what? They're just going to keep losing games until they do. And they're going to keep losing games because they're a rebuilding team. So you know what? Get your draft picks for whoever wants Deshaun, whether it's the Miami Dolphins, the Washington football team, whoever it is that needs a quarterback right now. And there's teams that do need a quarterback right now. Make that trade. But you know what? Like I said, the game was expected. Carolina's the better team. Houston's headed towards the top 10 in the draft. That Carolina did what they were supposed to.
When we talk about when we give our picks, which that will be after we touch bases on the Cowboys and the Eagles. When we give our picks, I am going to talk about Deshaun Watson when we touch the Colts-Dolphins game.
Okay.
But, as for now, you mentioned Adam Gase here. Adam Gase, I read something I thought was really funny.
I know what you're talking about. Yep, I know what you're talking about.
His high school football team, the team that he played high school for, they won state after he left.
Yep.
Denver Broncos, they won the Super Bowl after he left as the offensive coordinator.
Yep.
Ryan Tannehill, after he gets traded to the Titans from the Dolphins, free agency, immediately improved after he was gone from Miami. And now Sam Darnold, after what we saw Thursday night, we can easily say that Sam Darnold has improved after his time with Adam Gase.
Yep.
Now, I listened to something that I listened to a podcast, and they said that their bold take is Sam Darnold. They have Sam Darnold as the comeback player of the year. Now, I'm going to give this to the Angry Degenerate. Do you see that happening?
Sam Darnold? I mean, by all accounts, his career was dead in the water. It was DOA. It was done. It was dead on arrival. Once he arrived to the Carolina Panthers, everybody said, "What the hell are they doing? They should have drafted a quarterback. Why did they make that trade?" I mean,
I didn't.
The guy looked like a dumpster fire in the Jets. But then again, you got to break it down. He was playing with Adam freaking Gase, man. That New York Jets franchise, it doesn't matter who they get in there. It just doesn't matter. It seems like that entire culture there is just completely toxic. But Adam Gase is something else. The guy ruins quarterbacks. I mean, I'm pretty sure he got the job with the Dolphins, and then of course he got the job with the Jets. He has a good relationship with Peyton Manning, but at the end of the day, I mean, Sam Darnold, he's gonna win. He's gonna probably win the unless things go off the rails here, but. The Panthers are a surprise 3-0 team, and he is a big reason because of that. I mean, we've seen what Joe Brady has done with quarterbacks before. We've seen what he did with Joe Burrow at LSU. Joe Burrow was a washout prospect at LSU, got transferred to LSU, and he turned him into number 1 overall draft pick, and he's doing the same damn thing with Sam Darnold. And they got a guy there, I think, with and he's still on a pretty damn cheap contract, to be honest with you. He has 2 years. He has this year and next year left on his deal. If things go the way they are going right now, and they're playing in a pretty shitty division, you never know, man. That Carolina Panthers team could possibly be knocking on a playoff spot, knocking the doors on a playoff spot.
I actually am going to go far as I think that they're right now with the roster that they have. I think that they're the third best NFC team besides the Rams and the Bucks.
Wow.
And I can even argue maybe Cardinals, so maybe fourth.
That could either be an interesting, that could be a good take, or that could be a take that comes back to haunt you later in the year.
Yeah, I've had plenty of those. Let's move on and talk about a game that nobody expects other than maybe who is going to win. Dallas Cowboys ended up beating the not Miami Dolphins, the Philadelphia Eagles, 41-21 as the final score. Everybody, had a. I guess if I had to give a game ball, I would have to give it to pretty much everybody on that offense that was healthy, because people were scoring left and right. Tony Pollard scored a few touchdowns. Elliott scored. It was a crazy game. Now with this game, their next opponent is the Carolina Panthers, so that is going to be a fun one to watch. But I feel like the Philadelphia Eagles defense was not as good as advertised coming into this game, especially allowing the Cowboys. I mean, I get it. Cowboys have a great, offense with two solid running backs in the backfield. Dak Prescott starting at quarterback. I do think 2 out of the 3 wide receivers were hurt out of this game, though, with the exception of CeeDee Lamb.
Cooper played.
Okay. Okay, then I was wrong then. However, though, let's just say it was not a game that I was expecting. Doug, now since you're a big New York Giants fan, you know a lot about that division, so I'm going to let you go first. What were your thoughts on the game? Like, what were your predictions heading into that game? Things like that.
I mean, I had to keep my eyes on it, especially because for fantasy football eyes. So the person that I had,
so did I.
The person who I was playing going into tonight had the Cowboys defense. Now it made me sick to my stomach, but I was hoping for the Eagles to have like this big offensive explosion night and score 50. That clearly did not happen. Thankfully, they didn't score enough to where I got beat. So I got my first win of fantasy. Woohoo! The Eagles defense wasn't that good, and the Cowboys offense looked like how people envision it on paper. Zeke got a couple rushing touchdowns. He almost got 100 yards. Dak looked okay from the ankle injury. He threw 3 touchdowns. So I know we were talking about his shoulder last week. I mean, if he had a shoulder issue, he didn't look like he had it this week. CD looked okay. Amari Cooper had a couple catches, but I mean, they were scoring at will, and the Cowboys right now look like the team that in week 3 could be the runaway for the division. The Giants are 0-3. They're not going to win. I know that already. I've accepted it. It's okay. Washington football team and the Eagles, I think they'll be chasing, and usually it comes down to week 17 with one of these teams. But I mean, I think it's going to be whoever of those 3 teams gets the first to either 8 or 9 wins, if they can get that high, will be the division winner. Right now, if the Cowboys can play like that on offense, for the majority of the season, then yeah, Dallas is probably going to win that division. And right now, they look like the best team in the division. So pains me to say it. I hate the Cowboys, but I gotta, you have to respect talent and respect the winning because they destroyed the Eagles on national television tonight.
I have a question. Who was the last team in that division to win the division in 2 back-to-back years?
Oh man,
Because it hasn't been a while.
it hasn't been. It might be the Eagles from a while. It might be Eagles from at least like 02, 03 because that's the first one I can think of because it seems like every year it's hot potato with
those Eagles teams went to 4 straight NFC title games, I believe.
Yeah, I remember they lost one to the Buccaneers. They beat the Falcons.
I read a stat that Andy Reid's the first coach to make two where he's been like this happened twice for him. He's the first coach to do it twice, and that's to make 3 back-to-back conference championship games.
Yep,
sounds
he
about
did it
right.
With the Eagles in Kansas City. Yep.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna go ahead and give this to Angry Degenerate. What are your thoughts on this game?
Well, there was a lot of prognosticators out there, a lot of gambling addicts who had Eagles plus 3.5, and I scoffed at that. I was like, really? Especially after the Eagles lost Brandon Graham last week, who's a big part of their defensive line. I think they really missed him this week. Especially in the running game, they missed him. I mean, you can just absolutely tell they were gashing him left and right. The running game, the Dallas Cowboys running game was gashing him left and right. But I mean, what can I say about this game? I mean, the Eagles lost by about 20 points. Probably should have been more than that. They had a garbage time touchdown. Cowboys dominated them. When I did my early season predictions right after the draft, I had the Washington football team winning the division. Right before the training camp or during training camp, early preseason, I did my predictions again. I had the Dallas Cowboys winning the division. My reasoning was if they can just play average on defense, they're going to win that division because their offense is outstanding. And they're playing a little bit above average, actually. I kind of expect them to come a little bit back down to earth. I feel like they're playing a little bit over their head. I think Micah Parsons is a big reason because of that. He's been fucking amazing. But I mean, the way that they're playing right now, unless something happens where a key player gets injured or something or other, I just don't see them losing this division at this point in time. I think they outclass any of the teams in the division. Sorry, Doug.
That's okay.
Yep.
I'll look.
And let me preface that by saying I hate the Cowboys. I hate everything they stand for. I hate their fans. Their fans are the most annoying fucking fans on the freaking planet, second to Raider fans. But I fully expect them to win this division, and that's me eating humble pie because I hate their ass.
I don't know if you sorry, the Dallas Cowboys, they put out this little thing trolling the Eagles before. You know what? I gotta give them credit. Because tonight the Eagles had this beat Dallas T-shirt, so the Cowboys sent out a thing with the T-shirt, and over it says "Beat by Dallas."
That's pretty good. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. That's pretty good.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
So I have to give credit to the people who work in the social media departments. You have to give credit to the people who work in the social media departments because some of them have some of the best senses of humor ever. And that's pretty good.
There's a lot of people out here on this network that like to make jokes about, my favorite team and stuff like that. That's because I am a big Denver Broncos fan, but I also like to watch, not root for, watch whichever team is the local team out there in the NFL. I say that because when I was living out there in Texas, the local team was the Dallas Cowboys. So a lot of people like to tease me because, and joke around saying I'm a Cowboys fan because I'd rather watch that than, the other games out there in the NFL unless Denver is playing. With that being said, I only rooted for the Cowboys today because of fantasy reasons. I wanted the fantasy football league that I was playing with my dad. The team that him and I share, Jalen Hurts is the starting quarterback on the other roster. So even though Jalen Hurts, didn't put up Cowboy numbers, he was the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles in this game, I still probably lost. Anyway, with that being said, let's move on to the next topic, and that is Week 4 NFL picks. I'm gonna start this. I'm gonna go first. Starting off with Thursday night football game, and I think that the Jaguars are going to keep it a close game like they did with the Cardinals in Week 3, but Bengals are going to eventually pull out, and they're going to end up with the win, 27-17 victory. Angry Degenerate, what is your picks? What are your thoughts on that game?
I think this is a game that probably nobody wants to watch on television. But outside of that, get Urban Meyer out of the NFL. I mean, the guy's terrible. I got Bengals all day in this game. Bengals at home.
I wouldn't say that exactly. For one reason, he's never had an NFL coaching experience, so this is like his trial run, I should say.
He's doing a very terrible job of it.
True, I get that, but I'm giving him a little bit more of a chance than some of the others because he has.
I think he's out by the end of the year. I think he's out by the end of the year. Probably goes back to college, maybe USC.
Doug?
I could see Urban Meyer also being one and done as well in the NFL. He definitely does not like to lose, and he's going to lose a lot this year because that's what the Jaguars are. They're a young football team. I was surprised that he even took this job because the Jaguars are a rebuilding team. I've never seen a team fall so far from grace like they did a few years ago, being a quarter away from the Super Bowl, all the way back to the number one pick, and yet here they are.
The Jaguars are a team that always likes to trade away their first round draft picks. I'm sorry, we're moving on.
They do. Yeah, Leonard Fournette's got a Super Bowl because he got traded out of there.
By the way, that's a joke to the trade that happened earlier today where they traded away their cornerback. Now they only have two first round draft picks on their roster. That includes Trevor Lawrence.
They got their starting quarterback, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
I think that includes Trevor Lawrence.
Their general manager is Trent Baalke. 49er fans know all about him. Terrible.
Yeah, they know a little bit about Trent. But, it's going to be a battle of the last two number one picks in the draft with Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is going to keep on the growing pains. He, just keep playing them. Cincinnati is at a surprising 2-1 start. As long as Joe Burrow is healthy and he just keeps firing away at touchdowns, Jamar Chase has been fantastic for him. Cincinnati should walk out 3-1. They're at home. Jacksonville they might, get some points in garbage time. I'm going to say 28. I'm going to say 28-17. I'll give them a little bit more in garbage time. So 28-17, Cincinnati goes 3-1.
Vanger, Degenerate, did you already give your pick on that?
Yeah, I picked. Are we doing scores too?
Yeah.
Okay, I got the Bengals 31-17.
So we all have them scoring 17 points against the Bengals. So up next, I'm doing this one next because the Carolina Panthers, they played the Thursday night football game in week 3, and the Cowboys just played. So I'm going to do their team next. And like with the Bengals and Jaguars, I'm going to go first. I think that the Carolina Panthers are going to be their undefeated streak is going to be knocked off because of how well the Cowboys played today. As a matter of fact, I don't see Carolina scoring a lot of points. I'm going to go 38-10. Cowboys. The Angry Degenerate.
Yeah, I think I'm in a similar mindset as you. I think Cowboys playing at home against a Christian McCaffrey-less the Carolina Panthers. We saw how their offense kind of went last week when he left the game. She left the game pretty early. I think it'll be Cowboys in a romp, probably like 34-14.
Doug?
I'm just trying to see if Christian McCaffrey. I don't know if they've given any updates yet. I mean, my head, and my heart are warring here because I hate the Cowboys. I want the Panthers to win. I want Sam Darnold to embarrass the Cowboys. But if Christian McCaffrey, who I feel is the second best running back in the NFL right now, isn't playing, that drastically changes everything for Carolina because, I mean, the success of Sam Darnold has helped a lot with, having Christian McCaffrey out there. And if he's not playing, that's a huge detriment to that Panthers offense. So if he's not playing, unfortunately, I think Cowboys win like 31-14.
Yeah, the reports are that McCaffrey is expected to miss a couple weeks, but not go on IR.
Not going IR, so that could be like 2 or 3 weeks.
So up next, I'm going to go with the surprise pick here. I still think that the Tennessee Titans going up against the New York Jets, I still think the Titans are going to win. But unlike some of the other stuff that I've been reading, I actually think it's going to be a close game. And I say that because I feel like the Jets defense, even though they're not great, I feel like they're a little bit underrated. They're better than what people think. And even though they did get blown out by Denver last week, I still think it's going to be a close scoring affair. I'm going to go Titans 28, Jets 22. Doug?
Now, Nate, you saw the Jets play on Sunday, right, against the Broncos?
Yeah.
Now, you how many points did they score? I think a total of 0.
Yeah, it was 0.
Yeah, you're giving the Jets and their offense way too much credit. The Jets, unfortunately, have to go against probably the best running back in the NFL, in Derrick Henry. The Jets are terrible. The Jets, okay. I mean, you're the Jets. The Titans are 2-1. The
Titans
Jets
are 2-1, yes, but I don't have a lot of faith in their defense, though.
They're facing the Jets.
I get it. It's the Jets.
Yeah, the Jets who couldn't put up a single point against the Broncos. I mean, at least the Giants got 13 points against the Broncos.
I like the Broncos have a better defense than the Titans, though.
Okay, but it is the Jets. Jets are terrible. Like, right now the Jets are slated to pick number 2 in the draft. That's for a reason. The Jets are miles away from looking like a mid-level team. They're terrible. Even though it's at MetLife Stadium, that just means people can get out sooner to go home and watch, all the other games. Yeah, I mean, the Jets are not a good football team. Zach Wilson got drafted to the wrong team. I like Robert Saleh as a head coach. It's just he took the Jets job, and it's ugly right now, and the Jets aren't going to be any better. I would say Tennessee is probably. I mean, it might be a low-scoring game, but I'm going to say 23-6, Tennessee.
Up next, actually.
Oh, Angry didn't pick the Jets.
Yeah, Angry. Yeah.
So I have similar thoughts to Doug here. The Jets are terrible. I think it's going to be like 36, 30-6, 30-7. Maybe they get a touchdown in there, maybe miss an extra point, who knows. But I have the Jet in my predictions. I have the Jets pegged at like 2-3 wins on the season. Still at that. I thought the one saving grace that they needed in this season is to ensure that they had a starting quarterback of the future and make sure that their quarterback actually, looks good. Well, he doesn't look very good at the moment, and
Yeah.
if they go into this year with questions at quarterback yet again, it's going to set your franchise back. And I do like Robert Saleh. I do think they got the right guy for the job, and I actually kind of do like their GM, Joe Douglas. But I don't know if Zach Wilson was that pick at number 2, and it always made me laugh that they weren't. That it was always going to be Zach Wilson at number 2. It just was very odd. They weren't budging off of that. And thus far, I mean, this doesn't look good. Just doesn't look good there with the Jets. I mean, he has Corey Davis to throw to, but really, look at their running back room, look at their offense. It's fucking pathetic. And I just 30-7. But Titans will demolish the Jets even without AJ Brown.
Up next is the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles lost. I mean, not Eagles. Chiefs lost the last 2 games. I don't understand if the Philadelphia Eagles, like I said before the show started, if the Eagles had not given up as many points as they had, like cut that into 2/3, maybe like score 10 or Cowboys score like 10 or 17, then I would have picked the upset here and given the win to the Eagles. I'm not though. Chiefs had a really good passing game. As I said last week, their defense is terrible. Chiefs defense. And Chiefs don't have a great running game, but they have a really solid passing game, and I think that's what's going to get them over with the win here. And I'm going to go 27-10 Chiefs. Doug?
Now, kudos to you because I believe you picked the Chargers last show to beat the Chiefs in an upset.
Yes, I did.
Congratulations, you got that pick right. Yeah, I mean, if you saw the Philadelphia defense tonight on Monday Night Football, they can't stop the pass. This is basically, if you have Patrick Mahomes on your team, you're salivating this week in fantasy football.
But we're going to talk about
what?
We're going to talk about my team of fantasy football.
We're going to talk about with regardless. This is a dream matchup for Patrick Mahomes. He's got great receivers. Clyde Edwards-Helaire even, had some productiveness. This past game, even though I had him on the bench, that's okay. And now I don't know if he's going to play or not, but the Kansas City Chiefs signed Josh Gordon too. Whether he's stoned by halftime, it doesn't matter. I mean, Josh Gordon can sit on the sideline, smoke a doob with Snoop Dogg. The Chiefs are still going to put up 30+ points. Yeah, I like the Chiefs to win this. I'm going to say 38-14. Kansas City just rolls and gets back to 500.
I hate that, but that's not for as an analyst. It's as a I don't understand why Josh Gordon is in the NFL type of fan.
Speed. He's quick.
True, he's quick, yes, but what he's done to put, yeah.
I get it. He is a you as a head coach, you're expecting a 3M phone call that he's been arrested or that he has failed another drug test. I get it. He's gotten a million chances, yet somebody like Tim Tebow, who is the choir boy and has done nothing wrong, can't even get a tight end job. But I get it. That's a story for another day. I get it.
The Angry Degenerate, what are your thoughts on the Chiefs Eagles?
This is what I call a get-right game for Kansas City. 2 losses in a row. I fully don't expect Andy Reid, who, by the way, hopefully he's doing well.
Got released from the hospital.
Got released from the hospital, very
Mm-hmm.
positive. Expected to
Yes.
be at practice tomorrow. Um, Get right game. Don't overthink it. Chiefs are gonna beat them bad. The defense kind of sucks, so I kind of expect Philadelphia to put up a little bit of points, but it's gonna be like something like 41-21.
Doug, I'm gonna give you the big screen
Okay.
because you probably know what we're gonna be talking about next.
Oh, my Giants.
Yes. All right. Hold on.
Oh, look at
Giants
that clown.
versus Falcons, and now the Giants and the Saints game.
All right. So the Giants are going to New Orleans, where I can't remember the last time they've beaten New Orleans in New Orleans. The Giants, who couldn't figure out how to muster up points on a day where they retired perhaps one of their greatest icons of all time in Eli Manning. They retired his jersey at halftime, and that they managed to put up 14 points against a Falcon team who gave up over 40 the week before. This is not a good matchup for the Giants, who just lost their middle linebacker, Blake Martinez, to a season-ending ACL injury. The Giants could barely figure out how to rush the quarterback. This is not a good way for the Giants to go into Week 4. The Saints are 2-1, and Jameis is playing decent enough. It's not Drew Brees, but the Saints are competing, and it's unfortunately the Giants are going 0-4, and I know it. I've already prepared myself. This potentially could be a blowout. I could see like 48-20. It's getting ugly here in Jersey. Both the football teams stink. It's a race of who might get the first win between the two. The Giants are it's not good. And I said before on social media, they might not see a win till November if they're lucky. Yeah, I probably say 48-20 Saints are just going to roll. This is getting ugly real quick here in Jersey.
So I'm a little bit nicer than you are. Well, other than who's going to win. I still think Saints are going to win this game.
It's okay.
But
it's okay.
My scoring prediction on this is 35-28.
You're being too nice to the Giants.
Yeah.
You're being too nice. It's okay. I mean, I get it.
I don't trust the Saints passing game too much, which is why I don't think that they're going to put 40 on him. But they do have Alvin Kamara in the backfield. So if he was gone, who knows? I would have. It would definitely be a lot less. But Alvin Kamara's there, and he's probably going to get the only 5 touchdowns in the game.
The only 5, yeah. I mean, the last time they played it was in Jersey too. Kamara embarrassed them. It was 33-18. I mean, we could be looking at another performance like that. So I'm just saying.
Andrew Degenerate.
I got it at like 27-13. I got Saints beating the Giants. I mean, what was supposed to be a strong suit for the Giants was their defense. It's not really happening. They spent a lot of money on that defense. And I think Joe Judge there, he might be on the hot seat. There might be a little warm there.
Called it.
A lot of
It's
weird
getting
things
there.
happening. A lot of weird things happen in training camp. You can't be doing. You can't run a practice or run things like Bill Belichick without the credibility, my friends. And he doesn't have the credibility. And it's not looking good. I mean, you can run things like that when you are winning. When you're losing, things are going to start. Things are going to start getting ugly there. I think.
Eric Mangini found that out real quick in Cleveland when he was like finding people and trying to be Belichick in Cleveland. Except one thing, you're missing a few Super Bowl rings to do that. And I like covering the Giants for USA Today and everything. I have kind of the health and the the temperature of the fan base. The fan base loved Joe Judge basically until week 1, and week by week they are slowly turning on him, and it's like I said before, it's getting ugly real quick. It's not the first, they were 0-6 last year until they won their first game. If they go 0-8, 0-9, like I think they might, it's going to be bad here in Jersey. And I mean, the last 2 coaches that the Giants had, Pat Shurmur went 2 years. Ben McAdoo didn't even get to week 15. He was gone. It could be another 2 and done here in Jersey, and don't.
And there goes Gettleman. And there goes Gettleman as well.
I think Gettleman gets to retire as opposed to getting fired because he's been with the Giants for so long. I think they'll encourage a retirement. I mean, he was 70 and he came off dealing with cancer. So I think they'll rather let him retire and get somebody else. But yeah, I don't think he'll. If they go 2-15, like I think they might, the way that they're playing, yeah, he won't survive going into next year.
Yeah. Let's go on to the next game, and I'm just gonna say this right here. The more and more I think about this, I really don't think the blame to put on for last year was quarterback. The issue was not quarterback for Mr. Trubisky. I get that. I get that they didn't have great success and everything, but their biggest problem for the Chicago Bears was the coaching staff. Matt Nagy, he needs to go. I mean, you've had Nick Foles twice, Mitchell Trubisky, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Dalton for a couple games, Justin Fields for the last game. You've had so much, and they pretty much are all the same. Their quarterback's scheme is completely different, but they look all the same. It's not Justin Fields. He was asking for a mobile quarterback when they got Justin Fields. Justin Fields pretty much he got his answer, and then he's not doing anything because of what Matt Nagy has been telling him. I think he needs to go.
I agree.
I think I'm forgetting his name. Chicago Bears GM Ryan Pace.
Pace, yeah.
I don't think he needs to get fired, but I think he needs to get demoted to a scout.
I think he needs to go too.
I don't think he needs to get.
Yeah, I think he'll get fired too. I think they would clean house if. I think if it like the way that. I think Nagy would get canned first, and then I think Pace would get canned after the year. But I don't know. We'll see.
I say he gets demoted to a scout because he has gotten really he hasn't had much success. He didn't do well on the coaching staff other than getting Vic Fangio as their defensive coordinator, and he's had really good pieces out there on the defensive side of the ball. He has made good moves, but I think really having Matt Nagy there, I don't think he should be the GM there for very long. With that being said, this week they play the Lions. I don't care who's starting at quarterback. Yes, I read a report today about Matt Nagy's considering all 3 of those quarterbacks as starter. I don't care who's starting at quarterback. I still feel like they're going to beat the Lions. But I came up with 3 scoring predictions because they have not confirmed who's going to be the quarterback yet. If Nick Foles is starting, I'm going to go 24-21 over the Lions. If Andy Dalton is starting, I'm going 28-21. If Justin Fields is starting, I'm going to go 34-31. It really wouldn't matter anyways. The Ingrid Degenerate, I'm going to give it to you first.
Yeah, I actually have an upset special here. I think Detroit will win this game. I think Detroit
Wow.
will win this game. Motor City Dan Campbell will come out. His team will come out firing. I think they'll win a close one, something like 20-17, further putting Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace in purgatory. I mean, you just look at that team. Justin Fields got sacked 9 times this past week. Uh, and Matt Nagy comes out and he's like, I don't know who's going to be the starting quarterback this week. It's like, come on, guy. Like, it's very clear that he has never called plays in his life because he was the offensive coordinator under Andy Reid. Andy Reid calls the plays, folks. It's not their offensive coordinator. You think Eric Bieniemy calls the plays? He does not call the plays in Kansas City. I just think that entire organization is just a complete dumpster fire at the moment. Ryan Pace, I mean, how the hell can you not have an offensive line here? I mean, you're talking about you brought just Peters out of retirement to be your starting left tackle. I mean, this is a fucking joke. And it's like it seems like Matt Nagy doesn't know how to call plays for a mobile quarterback. I mean, you look at what he did with Mitchell Trubisky. You see what he did this week with Justin Fields. The guy doesn't open the fucking playbook, my guy. I mean, come on, dude. But regardless of the point, I think they lose this game. I might be wrong. This is my upset special of the week. I like what I've seen from Detroit. They have heart. It's a team that has heart. They're very talent efficient, but I think they're taking on the personality of their head coach, and they're staying in games. I mean, maybe they didn't stay in the first game against the Niners. Kind of some fluky things happened, but 2017 Detroit.
Doug?
I am going to concur. The Bears. This has upset written all over it because the Bears. I honestly feel like Matt Nagy could be the first coach get fired. I could just see Dan Campbell finally getting that first win. He probably gives himself a Gatorade bath on the middle of the field.
He can just get himself one. That's funny.
Just give himself. He's crazy. I mean, he was a tight end in the NFL. He's crazy, but you know what? They're in the games, and they play hard. I think this is finally the week where the Detroit gets off the losing skid. They get their first win. 23-20. I think it comes down to a field goal, and Detroit gets their first win. And Chicago, it doesn't matter who starts. I mean, they could pull Jim Harbaugh off the sideline of Michigan, and they're still going to 1-3. So,
the only player on the offensive side of the ball that I actually trust is TJ Hawkinson. It's the only reason why I didn't go with the upset because of that. It's just TJ Hawkinson against the Bears defense, so I didn't go with that. Going into this next game though, I think it's going to be not as what I predicted for the Vikings and the Seahawks game last week, which I did call the winner though.
I'm dead.
And so anyway, they go up against Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns have been huge, very huge on that running game. Vikings have very good slot receiver and two good, very good. They have Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson. And, so I think this game is going to go in the Browns' favor. Only because I like their defense a little bit more than I like Minnesota's. I think the Browns are going to win 34-31. Give this to Doug.
Okay. Cleveland got a very big part of their offense back. Odell Beckham Jr. finally returns. Put up yards. Didn't get a touchdown yet. But yeah, I'm with you. I like Cleveland in this. Minnesota, I think, is just trending in the wrong direction. I think they're eventually going to need to figure out who's the next quarterback after Kirk Cousins. I think they're going to actually eventually figure out who's going to be the next head coach after, Mike Zimmer. I like Cleveland. They're a young upcoming team. Their head coach is very good, and Kevin Stefanski. I say Cleveland wins 31-20.
The angry degenerate.
Yeah, I almost think the Vikings should have probably promoted Kevin Stefanski to be head coach and fired Mike Zimmer because I mean Mike Zimmer is like a defensive head coach and their defense sucks. I mean, what's going on there? I mean, their defense used to be their strong suit 3-4 years ago. The last 2 to 3 years has been pretty pitiful, and it's been all under his watch. And you know what? They have a very winnable division. I wouldn't say winnable division because I think the Vikings, the Packers are the cream of the crop of that division. But they have. I had them kind of in the wild card range, but just seeing what I see now, I think Mike Zimmer's job is in jeopardy. They are very good offensively. Their defense is trash. Browns prey on immobile quarterbacks like Kirk Cousins, and I just think it might be kind of a high-scoring game. I'll put it at let's do 34-27. Cleveland.
Next game to talk about has blowout written all over it. The Houston Texans. They go off and face Buffalo. It's a away game. Yeah, that's all that. Nothing else really needs to be said. Bills win 45-14. Doug?
So I'm looking at the spread here. Buffalo is favored 16.5 to win. So your prediction is pretty spot on. Buffalo's 2-1. Texans somehow are 1-2, but they're fortunate with a win. Buffalo is going to spank the Houston Texans 40-14. So Buffalo goes 3-1.
Yeah, I was actually 2 weeks in. I was actually kind of impressed with the Texans. I was like, man, they're staying in games. I was fully expecting them to get kind of beat up. Staying in games, I think a lot of that was attributed to Tyrod Taylor. I think quite possibly the most unluckiest quarterback on the face of the planet. I mean,
unluckiest and underrated.
Yeah, he got replaced in Cleveland. He got replaced at Buffalo.
Especially what happened with him in the Chargers.
What happened with him with the Chargers, and then he went on IR now with Houston. I mean, the guy's just really unlucky. I think he was a key to their success their first 2 games. We saw how they were last week without him.
I could see him retiring and becoming quarterback coach.
Possibly, we'll see. Davis Mills, 3rd-round pick out of Stanford. Not ready for prime time, I think. And, it's going to Bills at, Orchard Park, whatever it's called.
Yep, Orchard Park.
Yeah, they're going to beat them really bad. I think it's be something like 37-14.
Up next, the next game is one of 2 upset games for this week. I'm going to go off on a hot take here. I think the Dolphins... I'm not saying that Jacoby Brissett is a better quarterback than Tua, but I think that the Dolphins are better with Jacoby than they are with Tua. With that being said, they go off against an 0-3 Colts team who surprisingly hasn't had the success that I thought they were going to have. I would hate to see them go 0-4, but after what happened against the Dolphins and the Raiders last week, they are my upset pick, and I think the Dolphins are going to win 26-14. Doug?
Yeah, the Dolphins are at home. Carson Wentz always feels like he's, you tap him and then he's out for 10 weeks with a knee injury. The Dolphins, depending on who starts, I still think they're going to win. They're at home. They get to 2-2. The Colts, They're not in a good state of their franchise right now. 27-13. I think the Dolphins get back to 500. They are favored, so yeah, Miami wins this game.
I gave Doug the big screen here, so I'll do the same thing for you because you were a 49ers fan, right?
Well, first let me give my pick on the.
Oh yeah,
Dolphins
that's true.
game here.
That's true.
Let him get his pick in.
Yeah, I mean, I got similar viewpoints to you guys. I mean, got Dolphins to win this game. Probably, I don't know, let's say 24-13. I think Carson Wentz is not healthy, but I think even when he was healthy last year, he wasn't very good. And I think his career is trending vastly downward. And that trade that everybody was hyping up in the offseason, that trade, he's going to be under Frank Reich. They're gonna bring him back to the glory days. Yeah, it's not turning out too well, and the Colts have been a massive disappointment this year, quite possibly one of the biggest disappointments in the NFL. So 24-13, Dolphins take it at home.
I'm going to give you the big screen because your 49ers are the home team this next week. They play the Seattle Seahawks. So, what are your thoughts on this game? They were like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They were one of the two teams that were undefeated that lost last week. So I'm going to give you the big screen. You have thoughts on the loss and things like that?
Yeah, I mean the loss. The thing with the Kyle Shanahan offense is that you got to run the football to set up the pass. That's always been the thing. That's always been the thing that works for that football team under Kyle Shanahan. They just couldn't run the damn football yesterday. I mean, they were getting dominated at the point of attack there, which caused them to be behind to start off the game. And you know what? You never really want Jimmy Garoppolo to play from behind. It's always a quarterback that you want to play from the front. We were in a hole. We actually came out of that hole, and we had an opportunity to win the game. But then, late game, Kyle Shanahan came into play, and we've seen this game happen many, many times, and it befuddles me so much how these head coaches who are put in 20, 22 hours every day, they cannot get down clock management. They cannot get down game management, and that cost us in that game. There was a couple other things that cost us. I mean, our secondary is so beat up. I mean, we're down to Josh Norman, who, by the way, is probably going to miss next week. He was spitting up blood and was in the hospital this week with some sort of problems, and now we're down him. We're starting, a 6th-round pick in Lenore at cornerback, and we got Emmanuel Mosley on the other side. I mean, the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers picked us apart in the secondary. And I'm kind of afraid that's going to happen again with the good old let Russ cook and Russell Wilson. But with that being said, let me get all the negative stuff out of the way here. But, I think this is going to be a close game. Traditionally, in these last couple of years under style, these games have been pretty close. And Niners are playing at home. I have them kind of squeaking out a win here, like 30, 31, 29. I think that we kind of squeak one out there. And I think this game, it'll be a pivotal game in the division. Obviously, Seattle's sitting at 1-2, and the 49ers are 2-1. Start off the season, I think a lot of people were kind of overrating the 49ers, thinking they were going to, just come in here and kind of, automatically be a playoff team. I had them sitting in second place behind the Rams as like a wild card team. I think the Rams by far and away are the most talented team in the division and might get the first or second seed. But suffice to say, I got the 49ers 31-29 in this game. Slight maybe little homer coming out of me, but I'm hoping for the best for this game. And that's my pick.
I'm going to go next on this one. I actually think that the 49ers are going to win this game. I really like what Seattle has going on in their offense, but I other than one thing, you do have Tyler Lockett. I mean, you do have two really good wide receivers, but I feel like they are. If you put them on another team, I feel like they're a great number 2 and not really a number 1 wide receiver.
Oh, I
If you
think.
guys
Oh,
know
I
what I
think.
mean.
Oh, I think DK Metcalf is the number one wide receiver in a lot of teams in the NFL.
A lot of teams, yes, but like if you put them on, say, the Chiefs, no. Packers, no. I wouldn't put him. I would put him maybe over the Jets or a lot of these teams that are lacking one.
I mean, you just named 2 teams. There's 32 teams in the NFL. I
True.
mean, I think he's a number 1 on a lot of teams. I'd say probably half, if not more than half, of the teams in the NFL is number 1.
And so now going on the opposite side of the ball, Seattle has not been good as advertised on their defense. Not at all.
They
I
can't
mean,
defend the pass.
they cannot do that.
They signed a safety to a multi-year contract. Big deal. He's a glorified freaking linebacker.
Expect this game to be heavy on the expect this to be a heavy game on the passing game. I'm going to go 27-17 in favor of 49ers. Doug, I'm go leave this to go to you.
So Russell Wilson is my fantasy starting quarterback. And so far he's been phenomenal for me. I mean, Russ has been getting me points every week, and a team that the Seahawks used to be built on the run. Well, when they had beast mode and everything, now it seems like they're a team that is built on passing. I was surprised that they lost to the Vikings. I thought Seattle was better than this. I think they picked the wrong time to go 1-2 on the road against a team that always gives them a fit in the 49ers. It's a big rivalry game. The Niners were 37 seconds away from winning that game. Aaron Rodgers is on a point to prove, that he deserves, this big contract and can win outside Green Bay. I think the 49ers, are on a mission to show that they ultimately should have won last week, or I should say on Sunday night, and they didn't because Aaron Rodgers was sticking it to everybody in the NFL. The 49ers look like they should be the team that wins this game. I think it'll stay close because these two teams always play each other very tough. I'm going to say 34-26. 49ers go to 3-1.
Yeah. Up next, actually, this is the one that's probably gonna go back and haunt me because so far, every time I go against my gut, which is what I'm doing here, it doesn't seem to have worked out. Same way it happened with the Steelers and Bengals last week. Anyway, so I can see it happening here, and that's the Rams and the Cardinals. I have the Rams winning this one only because I was, I was kind of impressed. Maybe it's because I was impressed to see. I thought this was going to be a closer game than what it actually was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last week. I thought it was going to be like a 1 point, 2 point difference. If that was the case, I would have gone with my gut and say Cardinals, but I'm not doing it only because I have really liked what they did against the Bucs last week. 31-30 being the final score. Doug?
The Rams right now look like they're one of the best teams in the NFL. They had the Super Bowl champion Buccaneers come into their building, and they weren't scared by Brady and company. They took the best shots at Brady, and they just kept pouring on. The Rams right now look like they could be the best team in the NFC, and I think they will win this battle of the 2-3-0 teams. It's amazing what a world of difference a different quarterback does for you. Matthew Stafford right now looks like he's on a whole nother level. Just looks. I mean, Matthew Stafford always had talent. It's the talent that goes around you, and he's got a world of talent. Deshaun Jackson looks like he found the fountain of youth. Yeah, I think the Rams win this big. I'm going to say 37-24. The Rams go to 4-0.
Angry degenerate?
Yeah, I think despite the fact that the Cardinals, you look at the box score and you're like, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they didn't put up many points. I think they put up 19 points, 20 points, whatever the hell it was, and they had that return off of a missed field goal. But let's be honest, Cardinals defense is not very good, and I think the Rams Matthew Stafford, they're gonna pick them apart. They're gonna pick apart that secondary. I think Matthew Stafford, a lot of people forget how good he was because he was in Detroit, that dumpster fire that is Detroit, and Sean McVay under Jared Goff made the playoffs and a Super Bowl every damn year that he's been a head coach in the league. And then suddenly he gets Matthew Stafford. Yeah, Rams are going to beat him in a blowout. I think it's going to be kind of like I think it'll be like a 37-27 type game, and they go to 4-0. Cardinals go to 3-1, and that division gets very competitive.
I am counting my picks from last week. And as of week 3, I actually went 12-4. That's a big improvement over my week 2 record, which was 8-8.
It happens.
So week 4, continuing on. Next up is actually the Pittsburgh Steelers. They play the Green Bay Packers. Might be a little bit nice on the Steelers after what we saw last week against the Cincinnati Bengals, where they couldn't come up with anything. I still have the Packers in a win, but it's a 1-point deficit. Only because I think this is going to be a very defensive battle between both those teams. You still have Aaron Rodgers, which is a plus. And you still have, I think they have a better receiving core in Green Bay, a better running back, but I still feel like it's going to be a battle of defenses. And I'm going to go 24-23 in favor of the Packers. Doug?
I think, unfortunately, in Pittsburgh, we're seeing the end of Ben Roethlisberger. I think age is finally catching up to him. He'll be a Hall of Fame quarterback, but you can't beat Father Time, and they're 1-2. Ben he's not the same quarterback, and I think they got to start looking at life after Ben Roethlisberger. Whether that's Dwayne Haskins or not, I have no idea, because Dwayne Haskins couldn't read a freaking playbook in Washington, and you saw how quick they gave him the boot.
I forgot to say one thing real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that the Steelers are going to score 10 points heading up into the fourth quarter. And then once the fourth quarter starts, you see that Cincinnati has. You see that the Steelers are struggling and all this. So I think they're going to start Dwayne Haskins and come up, and it goes down to a field goal and a missed field goal. No, I'm kidding about the missed field goal part, but I do think it's going to come up short. The comeback is going to come up short.
Okay. Yeah, if Ben continues to look the way he does, yeah, they owe it to themselves to see if Dwayne Haskins can perform, or if they need to figure out if they need to draft a quarterback or trade for somebody. In the battle of what was Super Bowl 45, yeah, it's gonna be Packers winning. It's in Lambeau. I think the Steelers are in for a long day. I think it's gonna be 34-10.
Next game, since I gave Doug the full screen here, and since
I have to make my pick.
That's true.
He's got a pick too.
I'm just excited about the next game.
I know you are.
Steelers versus Packers. What can be said about Ben that hasn't already been said? I think this is a classic scenario of a quarterback that probably played 1 year too long. They probably should have just went in another direction, whether it was with, I don't know, Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins. But I mean, they might even possibly consider benching him because he's looked that bad. He's looked really bad and old. I actually kind of
Mm-hmm.
feel bad for the guy. I mean, it looks like a quarterback that's, you see those clips back in the days of Joe Namath playing with the San Diego Chargers. It's just like one of those things where it's like, what are we doing here, guys? And it's not like he doesn't have talent on offense. I mean, they're stacked at wide receiver, and they have Najee Harris. He's great, but they're not looking very good because of Ben. And so, with that being said, I think I still give a little bit of credence to the Steelers' defense. So I think it's not going to be a blowout. It'll be something like 27-20, and that's it. Packers.
I'm gonna give myself the big screen.
Give yourself a big
real
screen.
quick.
You deserve it. Come on.
So, Denver Broncos are 3-0. They go off and play the Baltimore Ravens, who are 2-1, and Ravens are hurt, especially at the run game. They going into the season, I think they had 3-4 running backs that ended up getting hurt before they even played their game against Baltimore. They played even before they played their game against the Las Vegas Raiders. And then they go off. They upset the Chiefs. Nobody expected that. And what happened week 3? Oh yeah. They were 50 at the very, very last second of their game against the Detroit Lions, out of all teams. They were very close to losing that game 17 to 16. But Justin Tucker broke the record of the longest field goal. I wanted to actually pull something real quick. I'm going to give click on the share screen of this last game. Skip just 1 second. Chrome tab, NFL. All right. Lamar Jackson. His rushing yards, they were good. He put up 58, but they aren't Lamar Jackson normal running yards, and they did it against the Detroit Lions defense that sucked. I expected more out of him because it's what we've been getting out of him. So going up against my team, the Denver Broncos, which we had Saquon Barkley average 2.6 yards per carry against us, and James Robinson did 4.8 against us yards per carry. I want to see if we can actually stop the run. That's what I want to see out of this game because, passing game, that's not going to work out. Denver's defense is just that powerful. This is why I'm probably going to go full. This is probably just a full-on homer statement. But I have the Denver upsetting Baltimore here. 28-14. Okay, I'll be nice. 28-21 because I do think that Lamar is going to get a couple of touchdowns. I'm going to give this to the Angry Degenerate because you said on some of the Sports Corner shows that you covered a lot about the AFC West. So, see what your thoughts on her.
Well, I mean, the Oakland Raiders used to be in my backyard. Now they're the Las Vegas Raiders. So I kept in touch with the AFC West just to be a fly on the wall to be able to I can talk shit to Raider fans and be accurate when talking shit. So I mean, one of my big misses this year was I did not like the move to uh, Teddy Bridgewater. I thought they should have went with Drew Lock. He's proven me wrong thus far.
Same.
But I mean, looking at the Broncos lost Ambler. They're out. They for the year.
Out for the remainder of the season.
Judy's out
Until the Browns game.
Correct. So you're missing your 2 top wide receivers, and I think when the Ravens played the Detroit Lions, there was one of those classic, you kind of overlook your opponent because they just came off a big win against Kansas City. They overlooked the Lions. Now they're playing the Denver Broncos, who are 3-0. And I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to turn into the Teddy Bridgewater of old in this game. And we're going to see the Broncos drop down to 3-1 in a 24-13 game.
Doug?
I guess I'm the tiebreaker. You're going with the Broncos. You're going against the Broncos. Denver is favored by 1 at home.
I also would like to mention that the Broncos have not played anybody yet. That is also a factor.
Oh, man, I could feel that. I could feel that sting that burned 3,000 miles away. Oof. This I think it's going to go either way. I mean, you're talking about a team that's built around Lamar going up against a team that has played defense very well so far. The Broncos came into Jersey and they stuffed the hell out of the Giants, and then they had the Jets come in and they made them look like a Pop Warner team. I think this will come down to a field goal. I feel like this will come down to whoever has the ball last. Sorry, Nate. You can't bet against Justin Tucker, especially in that setting, that scenario. I think it's going to be 24-21. I think the Ravens win on a field goal.
Going up against the next matchup is the game of the week. For most NFL fans, probably not for Tom Brady. I say that because he's on pace to break the record for the most number of passing yards. I'm sorry, total yards, was it? It was passing a total. I think it was total. Going up against his former team that he's played with, not to mention Gronk has played with the Patriots as well. I think it's going to be a blowout for Tampa. Now, I know a couple of people, especially Lennon, who was on the show last week, he's a big Patriots fan who thought this was going to be an upset for him. I don't, and I think it's going to be a big blowout. How about Bucks 49, Patriots 10?
Ooh.
Yes, I said it. Bucks
Okay.
49, Patriots 10. Injury degenerate. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my first thought is those terrible promos that they were doing in Sunday Night Football. It was just like, what are they doing here? It's like they're doing like Adele, this Hello song, and it's like, what? Are you kidding? Even Al Michaels and Chris Collins were like, what the fuck are we doing here, guys? But I mean, those promos were so ridiculous. They didn't even talk about any of the players. It was just Coach and Brady, nothing else. So it was like, does anybody give a shit about Nelson Aguilar or James White or the fact that they got Kendrick Bourne? It was like, fuck them players, man. It's all about Bill. Which, I mean, it was those things. I was like, what the fuck am I watching? But suffice to say, I think it'll be a lot closer than people think. I think if anyone is a master strategist, it is Bill Belichick, and he is going to do anything, and he is an egomaniac, and he does not want to get beat by Tom Brady. But I just think the Buccaneers, who obviously they got beat by the Rams, but the Rams are a very talented football team. The Buccaneers will not get beat by an inferior football team that is the New England Patriots. And I think it'll be closer than people expect, but I do think Tom Brady's going to go there into Gillette Stadium, and I think it'll be something like 31 to let's say 23.
Doug?
Yeah, so I concur with you. All right, so first of all, it was passing yards. So Drew Brees right now is at 80,358.
That's what I thought.
Fog in the way. Tom Brady is 80,291. So he is 67 yards away from tying, 68 from taking the lead as the all-time passer in the NFL. Which, I mean, given the way the Buccaneers' offense is, he can get that in probably the first 7 or 8 minutes. Yeah, I mean, they spent all of Sunday Night Football hyping up Belichick versus Brady, but really it should be Mac Jones versus Tom Brady, as in that's the guy who's playing right now. School's in session. Mac Jones is going to learn that, the GOAT has come back into GOAT land, and the Buccaneer offense can put up 35, 40 points easily without trying, and they're not facing Aaron Donald and that pass rush like they did in Los Angeles. They're facing a very not so Belichickian like defense of the Patriots. 42-17 Buccaneers easily roll in the Belichick versus Brady matchup, but really it's Mac Jones versus Tom Brady, and Brady gets the win here.
Up next, we have Monday Night Football. It's the next game. This was the game that I thought that the winner was going to score 40-plus points. This was the Monday Night Football game. Let me rephrase that. But I don't... it's the Raiders and the Chargers. Chargers, they... Right now, they just came from upsetting the Kansas City Chiefs. Second team to do that in a row. They go off and they play the visiting Las Vegas Raiders, who beat the Ravens, who beat the Chiefs. And now I know, I get it. It's, that really, they didn't physically beat the Chiefs themselves, but I think, to be honest with you, this is going to be a high-scoring affair. I'm going to go 44 Las Vegas Raiders, 30 Chargers. Doug?
I mean, we're talking about, I didn't think the Raiders would start out 3-0. They've been a surprise so far, 3-0. And the Chargers are 2-1. It's surprising to see that the Chiefs are in last place of the division, considering they've been the AFC representative, the last couple of years. Justin Herbert is, that offense goes through him. I know they're favored 3.5 at home. For some reason, I see the Raiders pulling it out. 37-34, Raiders win on a field goal.
I'm gonna go over my overall record real quick is for picks, and then we're gonna move on to fantasy.
I still have to go.
Yeah,
he's got a pick too.
I got a pick too, man. And you're also missing a game. We didn't pick Washington versus Atlanta.
That's true.
Oh.
Which, we could either skip that game. but Raiders versus Chargers. I think I'm going to go against both of you guys. I think I think this is where the Raiders take their first loss. I think the Los Angeles Chargers are very unlucky to not be 3-0 at the moment. They should have probably beat the Cowboys, but they did they did LA Chargers things, meaning it's just an organization that just can't seem to get out of their way in terms of clock management, coaching decisions, timeouts, piss poor penalties. They had 2 touchdowns called back on ticky-tacky fouls, mind you, against the Cowboys, so they probably should have won that game, but they didn't. At the end of the day, 2017 is what matters. And, with the Raiders, a couple fluky things happened. The Raiders could easily be 1-2. They could have easily lost against the Baltimore Ravens. In fact, they were losing to the Baltimore Ravens in the fourth quarter. They probably should have lost that game, but they did a very unlike very unlike Raider thing, which is come through in the clutch and win the game in overtime. They did the same thing against the Miami Dolphins. Um, and I think their luck a little bit runs out here against the Chargers. I think the Chargers win this game 30-24.
I'm gonna let you go first on this one, Angry Degenerate. Um, Washington football team, they go off and they play the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta Falcons coming off their win over the Giants, and the Washington football team coming off their blowout loss to the Buffalo Bills. Who do you have?
Man, this is kind of a little bit of a tough game to analyze here because Washington looked really bad last week. They looked
Yeah, they
really
did.
bad. But they looked. I mean, I just don't know what to make of Tyler Heineke at the moment. I mean, he's a guy that I think maybe teams will start as they get tape on him and all that stuff. They'll start catching up to what he's doing. Um, Falcons. Like I said, I don't know what to make about them either because they beat a very bad New York Giants team, and Matt Ryan and that entire team just looks like obviously a team that's rebuilding, kind of not rebuilding. Kyle Pitts, the most hyped prospect, has done absolutely nothing. I think this guy has been like one of the most hyped prospects I've heard in the last couple of years, and he's done absolutely nothing. I wouldn't have him on my fantasy team. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
this game's a toss-up for me. I'm not going to watch this game. 2017 Falcons.
Doug, I'm gonna let you go first on this. Second.
Yeah. A game that we forgot about until the end. It feels like everybody else is forgetting about this on the schedule. I feel like because it's at home, I'm inclined to pick the Falcons. Kyle Pitts was basically a ghost until the fourth quarter. He did come up with a couple of big catches at the end of the game, because the Giants are good at making people who are underwhelming very good. So, I'm going to say Atlanta wins this game 23-20.
I'm gonna go the Falcons as well. Only because there's two pieces on the Falcons team that I really really like, and there's not really much that I care about for the Washington football team. And those two pieces that I huge fan of is Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts. I'm going to go with the Falcons 24-17 final score. Now, as I brought up my picks, my overall record last week, which was 19-13 with the 8-8 record not doing so well, week 3 comes into play. I am now 30-18. So hopefully going on to week 4 that I don't get close to that 500 range. I don't want to be at that 500 range. And now the next topic, we'll talk a little bit about it briefly, because we're kind of running out of time. But I'm going to give a quick update on the fantasy stuff. So pulling that up real quick. I have to laugh again because the exact same thing that Landon did in week 1, which was forget to set their roster. It wasn't Landon, but it happened again at week 3. Yeah. Well, not copy the clipboard. Hold on. Share screen. Okay. Okay, so final score of my game against the New Jersey Big J was 138 138.6. I won 138.6 to 63.5.
Oh, good for you.
And Tua Tagovailoa hurt. T. Higgins hurt. Darnell Henderson hurt.
Hurt. Oh,
Sorry. Yeah. They were all hurt before the game started.
does this person not pay attention to their rosters?
And because of what happened today, he is no longer undefeated.
Well, first of all, why does he start? First of all, why does he even have two on his team? That's my.
Well, who's his backup quarterback?
He doesn't have one.
Oh, well, that he deserves to lose for that alone. Oh my goodness! I mean, he could have at least replaced a couple of receivers. I mean, Jamar Chase should be in the starting lineup. He's been fantastic. Marvin Jones has been actually really good. Mike Williams. Oh my goodness, terrible! Oh my goodness, this person needs to pay attention to their lineup. My goodness, get him. I said this in our first show. Always pay attention to the waiver wire and make sure you at least have a backup quarterback just in case of things like this. This person should get rid of Jersey out of their name. They're such a heartbreak to me being a person from New Jersey. Oh my goodness, terrible, terrible, terrible.
The guy's name is Jordan Dean Lewis.
Well, he's fired from being from New Jersey, so.
All right, so up next is William Morgan versus James Nesbitt. The final score of this one was 110 to 188. So James Nesbitt, who is on Real Talk, he goes up to 2-1. William Morgan. Well, by the way, this is the guy that I told you about, William. He has 2 fantasy teams in this league, but in this case, talking about not setting the roster, this guy did not set the roster with Josh Jacobs being out, and the Rams defense, but that's one thing. Josh Jacobs, didn't do anything, and they still ended up being William Morgan's team here.
He's fortunate that.
Yes, very fortunate.
Very fortunate. I mean, Robert Tonyan didn't do anything. I mean, just looking here. I mean, oh man, Roethlisberger didn't do much. It didn't really. It just looks like he didn't really matter who he had on his team. It just seems like the other guy was going to win no matter what. So
Up next is Tyreek Hill's daycare. Justin Gotze. He is the guy that does not have Tyreek Hill on his team, and he's called it that. He won today 151 to 113. A huge blowout. Both these guys had a bye in their previous week, so that's why they're 1-0 heading into week 3. Justin Gotze ends up continuing his undefeated streak with the 2-0 record. Alexander Mattison had a great game against the Seattle Seahawks.
Cooper Kupp even had a bigger game against the Buccaneers. I mean, you can tell me Madison, Jefferson, and Kupp. I mean, right there. I mean, that's the bulk of your points right there. That's That's having a good week, even with Russell Wilson not having a typical MVP type week against the Vikings. I mean, that right there, I mean, was it 25, 25, and 30? I mean, there you go. That could win you every single week.
Not to mention Denver's defense scored 17 points in that game. And the Brandon Cooks had 20 points there.
Good. Yep, that'll get you 151 points and a victory anytime with that kind of point scoring.
The other, William Morgan's other team, the Seattle Spartans, he ends up getting his first win of his time. And he ends up winning 115 over 99 against Bill. And this was the guy that basically traded away their best players from their team that sucks the most to the team that does not, and trading away some of their worst players. Basically, pulled off two trades that were people were considering Seattle Spartans robbing William Morgan's other team. Anyway, long story short, the team that basically robbed the team that sucks, that was supposed to suck coming into the season, is now 1-2.
Now, 3-minute warning. Did they have? I mean, I see. Did they have another running back on the bench? Because I mean, it looks like he left. Like AJ Brown didn't do much, but he
Latavius
could.
Murray was their only other running back.
Wow, his team's really bad.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, he had some points on the bench that he could have put on the his tight end. He could have had Gerald Everett over Kyle Pitts, but I mean, you're not going to start. I wouldn't sit Pitts on paper, but it seems like he could have won this game had he switched out a couple players, but you don't know that in hindsight. So
yeah, I'm gonna say one thing. This is just a bold prediction. If I had Williams roster for next week, I would start Tim Patrick over Chris Carson.
Okay.
Because I feel like he's gonna get a lot of the touches, other than Courtland Sutton. So, next game was I Win Weekly, Landon Hammonds, he was the guy that we laughed about for not setting up his roster in week 1.
Only won this week.
Yeah, he won this week, and now he's actually 2-1. Flory Maximus, Alex Fleming, Jason Fleming, he is now 1-2 is his record. And, TJ Hawkinson has been a beast this year, but that I kind of expected.
Well, he has great tight ends. Mark Andrews on the bench.
Yeah. I offered him a trade that didn't go out, but basically, I don't remember who else I sent. He said that he doesn't want to have. He's willing to trade one of those two tight ends, but he doesn't want to get a tight end in return. So I offered him a trade. It didn't end up working out because one of the pieces that I tried to trade was the Rams tight end Tyler Higbee. But he doesn't want to get a tight end in return. And I told him, like, what do you want to do? What are you gonna do if TJ Hawkinson gets a bye? If Mark Andrews is the guy that you're willing to trade, and he said pick one up.
It's a risky move.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have had my smart ass personality. You would I don't want a tight end. That's where you come back with, well, people in hell want ice water, but let's get back to reality and fantasy football trading. So, yeah. I mean, he got the win, but maybe us shaming him that 1 week, maybe it made him realize, oh, maybe I should pay attention to my lineup. He got the win, but shame him to make the trade with you. Come on.
So Christopher Brown, he is currently on his undefeated streak. Now he's officially 3-0. He beat the currently 0-3 Ray Cruz. The score is 123-107, and McCaffrey did not have as great as a game as I expected, but the truth
Got
is,
hurt.
he did get hurt. So,
Hurt.
yeah, about that.
I think Ray is actually the only Jaguars fan I know of. And I mean, he's very vocal about it. He was on our show last week, and he's probably the only Jaguars fan I know of publicly. I mean, he has his quarterback, and he's going to continue to stick with that quarterback. And somehow Trevor Lawrence got more points than Justin Fields, which says a lot about the poor performance Justin Fields had in his debut against the Browns.
Like I said earlier, fire Matt Nagy.
Yeah, fire Matt Nagy. I mean, they should, but oof. This is where being a Jaguars fan and Jaguars homer kind of goes back to bite him. I mean, but at the same time, who do you start over, Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, considering how poor one is played over the other? I mean, that's kind of like do you want to get punched in the face or kick in the nuts? I mean, flip your coin and pick a battle.
At this point, I would start Derek Carr.
That's right. He's got him sitting at the end of the bench. That's your best quarterback.
Oh yeah, by far. That's
by far.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's. I was gonna say that's a terrible quarterback room he has there, but then he has Derek Carr sitting on the bench. He should have started him.
Yeah, without question.
So, and then the next one after that is Team Henderson, but he was on bye. So that's all for now. Any final thoughts before?
What a poor performance by bye. Oh my goodness, bye week was a terrible opponent.
0-3.
Yeah, terrible.
All right. Starting off with Angry Degenerate, then Doug, then myself. Any final thoughts before we give us a close?
No, man. I mean, I'm excited for week 4 of the football season. I mean, we're going to be, a quarter of the way through the season already, kind of. That's freaking fast. And I'm also looking forward to the MLB playoffs, to be honest with you.
Ooh,
and
yes.
Postseason. Some tight wild card races, divisional races there in the NL West. Coming down to the wire, Brandon Belt just broke his thumb, out for the rest of the season. Potentially the playoffs. I mean, things are getting interesting in baseball at the moment, but it's being overshadowed by the grand old NFL.
All right, Doug.
Yeah, you mentioned. So I'm on the other side. So the Yankees just come off a 3-game sweep of the Red Sox. Me being a Yankee fan here in Jersey, we now lead the wild card, and if it were to start today, the one game wild card would be at Yankee Stadium. Very tight wild card race here
Against the Red Sox.
On the other side against the Red Sox. Yeah, I mean, I love the baseball playoffs. I'm very excited to see what happens. And it helps, because my team, the Giants, we suck. I get it. I've already accepted it. And I mean, weekly, I'm now covering what draft picks the Giants would get if the season were to end today. The Giants would have 5-11, by the way, if the season ended today. That's where my season's going. That I'm instead of covering, potential playoff run and everything, I'm covering what draft picks the Giants are going to get in the first, 15 picks. So that just says a lot about New Jersey and New York football. So, but you know what? I can live with it. I'm a big boy. I know my team sucks. I get it. Thank God for MLB playoffs.
Yeah. Speaking of my team sucks, the next set of games for Denver Broncos, I could definitely see it going either way. I mean,
you're 3-0. You're 3-0. Okay, I don't know what a win is right now. Okay, I have no idea what it is to win a football game. You have 3 of them.
I get it. So, the next set of games, we have the Ravens up next, the Steelers, Raiders, Browns. I can totally see us going 3-9. With the next game that I see us having a win is Detroit. That I from Chiefs all the way to the Ravens, I can see any of those games going either way. But the Lions is that one game, the next game that I see it. There's no way I can see the Broncos losing that.
Okay. Just focus on the Ravens right now. Just focus on the Ravens. Who knows? You might go 4-0. You might be 4-0 by the time we're talking next week. Who knows?
Heck, I actually see us going 5-0.
There you go. There you go.
This has been Nate the Great, Angry Degenerate, and Doug Rush signing out. We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.
Oh, wrong one. All right, there.
All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making the plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace up the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. Network. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.